Good evening. From the University of Utah in Salt Lake City, welcome to the first and only Vice Presidential Debate of 2020, sponsored by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates. I'm Susan Page of USA Today. It is my honor to moderate this debate, an important part of our democracy. In Kingsbury Hall tonight, we have a small and socially distant audience, and we've taken extra precautions during this pandemic. Among other things,
I'm speaking.
That is lively.
Okay, y'all, let's get it. Testing. Can people hear me? I'm learning. So bear with me with this YouTube stuff. Okay, y'all, let's get it. Testing. All right. Now, what's up, y'all guys? It's been a minute. I'm doing this YouTube thing. Thank you for bearing with me and joining with me. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. This is the Vice Presidential Debate, and let's get into it.
But Americans also deserve a discussion that is civil. These are tumultuous times, but we can and will have a respectful exchange about the big issues facing our country. Let's begin with the ongoing pandemic that has cost our country so much.
Can people hear me?
Senator Harris, the coronavirus is not under control. Over the past week, Johns Hopkins reports that 39 states have had more COVID cases over the past 7 days than in the week before. 9 states have set new records. Even if a vaccine is released soon, the next administration will face hard choices. What would a Biden administration do in January and February that a Trump administration wouldn't do? Would you impose new lockdowns for businesses and schools and hotspots? A federal mandate to wear masks? You have 2 minutes to respond without interruption. Thank you.
Now, she's starting her statement out with the whole, we're starting off with this COVID situation, this YouTube, so it is what it is. We're at a dire situation. We are sick. So her point thus far is, let's do what we need to do. Stand up for what we need to do. Yeah.
Susan. Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country. And here are the facts. 210,000 dead people in our country in just the last several months. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed. We're looking at frontline workers who have been treated like sacrificial workers.
Okay. So anybody disagree, not agree on what she, excuse me, guys, what she's saying thus far? Anybody disagree, like I said, who couldn't hear me, this is a channel where I'm just stating my opinion. Nothing is debated. Nothing is to be taken too seriously. Nothing is to be taken too seriously at all. Okay?
We are looking at over 30 million people who in the last several months had to file for unemployment. And here's the thing. On January 28th, the Vice President and the President were informed about the nature of this pandemic. They were informed that it's lethal in consequence, that it is airborne, that it will affect young people and that it would be contracted because it is airborne. And they knew what was happening and they didn't tell you. Can you imagine if you knew on January 28th as opposed to March 13th?
Now, I've heard this before. I heard this several times before. I heard this situation to where Trump had the opportunity and blew it off as it's nothing. Blew it off as it's nothing. So, I don't know.
What they knew, what you might have done to prepare, they knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. The president said, you're on one side of his ledger if you wear a mask, you're on the other side of his ledger if you don't. And in spite of all of that, today they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does. And our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free.
Okay, that free fall. That free fall is important. Did y'all not hear her? We are talking about medications for free fall, for everyone, basically, but who's going to stand in the way of it is being what it is.
For all. That is the plan that Joe Biden has and that I have, knowing that we have to get a hold of what has been going on and we need to save our country. And Joe Biden is the best leader to do that. And frankly, this administration has forfeited their right to re-election based on this.
Thank you, Senator Carroll.
She got a point. She got a point.
Vice President Pence, more than 210,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 since February. The U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population is higher than that of almost every other wealthy nation on earth. For instance, our death rate is 2.5 times that of Canada next door. You head the administration's coronavirus task force. Why is the U.S. death toll as a percentage of our population higher than that of almost every other wealthy country? And you have 2 minutes to respond without interruption.
Now, he about to come with some BS. Look at his face. He look like he about to come on some not, straight up, straight up type of thing. He looks like he full of BS. I mean, it is what it is. It seemed like what's about to come out his mouth is some BS, and it is what it is. Let's see what he got to say. I'm listening. Pence, however you pronounce your name.
Thank you, and I want to thank the Commission and the University of Utah for hosting this event. And Senator Harris, it's a privilege to be on the stage with you. And our nation has gone through a very challenging time this year. But I want the American people to know that from the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first.
I told you he was gonna lie. I told you he was gonna lie. I'm telling y'all, he's a liar. He is a liar off top. You know what I'm saying? He's a liar off top. President Trump had the country's best interest in mind. Why when he first heard about it, he just blew it off. Was making fun of it. Not taking it serious. Come on now. Give me evidence of this man doing more than what this man is doing.
Before, there were more than 5 cases in the United States, all people who had returned from China. President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done, and that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision. He said it was xenophobic and hysterical. But I can tell you, having led the White House,
he to me, he looks like a liar. Like, if looks can tell you that you is what you is, and it tell you what you are, he full of crap. I'm not feeling this man at all. Like, I'm trying to stay neutral and make neutral decisions for myself and my family. And his first statement sounds so cold, so brutal, so unreal. You know what I'm saying? It don't even sound like he real. That's just me per se, but
this coronavirus task force, that decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time to stand up the greatest national mobilization since World War II. And I believe it saved hundreds of thousands of American lives. Because with that time, we were able to reinvent testing. More than 115 million tests have been done to date. We were able to see to the delivery of billions of supplies so our doctors and nurses had the resource and support they needed. And we began, really, before the month of February was out, to develop a vaccine and to develop medicines and therapeutics that have been saving lives all along the way. And under President Trump's leadership, Operation Warp Speed, we believe, will have literally tens of millions of doses of a vaccine before the end of this year. The reality is, when you look at the Biden plan, it reads an...
It feel like he's so cold. It feel like Pence is reading a script. I'm trying to listen, y'all. I'm really trying to listen, and it's just like, I'm just like, oh wow, this man. I'm trying. I'm sorry, y'all.
An awful lot, like what President Trump and I and our task force have been doing every step of the way. And quite frankly, when I look at their plan that talks about advancing testing, creating new PPE, developing a vaccine, it looks a little bit like plagiarism, which is something Joe Biden knows a little bit about. And I think the American people know that this is a president who has put the health of America first, and the American people, I believe with my heart, can be proud of the sacrifices they have made.
She telling him to be quiet, he steady talking. That's neither here nor there. It's just, I'm not following this man, and it just, maybe it's just me, but I'm just like, I don't.
It's saved countless American lives.
Senator Harris, would you like to respond?
Absolutely. Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country, American lives that have been lost, families that are grieving that loss. And you know, the vice president is the head of the task force and knew on January 28th how serious this was. And then thanks to Bob Woodward, we learned that they knew about it. And then when that was exposed, the vice president said, when asked, well, why didn't y'all tell anybody? He said, because the president wanted people to remain calm.
Well, let's get
no, but Susan, this is important.
Now, notice what she had said for her point. For rebuttal. Rebuttal to what he was saying was like, look, this will be yes. Why he ain't say nothing? Y'all knew ahead of time. Y'all ain't say nothing. Y'all whole excuse was y'all was protecting people. Let that sit and simmer with you for a minute.
Susan, I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in.
Yeah, you
So
can have
I
15 more
wanna-
seconds, and then we'll give the Vice President
Thank
a chance
you.
to
So I
respond.
want to ask the American people, how calm were you when you were panicked about where you're going to get your next roll of toilet paper? How calm were you when your kids were sent home from school and you didn't know when they could go back? How calm
Thank
were
you.
you
Thank
when
you,
your
Senator
children
Harris.
couldn't see your parents because you were afraid they could kill them?
Let's give Vice President.
Good points, good points, good points. She making good points. She making good points, and I'm not trying to be. This is girl talk, and for the fellas that pick upon this, there's nothing against y'all, but this is example of a woman in power who is trying to change the world, and we trying on this channel be on woman empowerment, So, let's see what else you got to say.
President Pence a chance to respond. Vice President Pence, you have 1 minute to respond.
There's not a day gone by that I haven't thought of every American family that's lost a loved one. And I want all of you to know that you'll always be in our hearts and in our prayers. But when you say what the American people have done over these last 8 months hasn't worked, that's a great disservice to the sacrifices the American people have made.
I'm referring
The
to
reality,
the
if I may finish, Senator, the reality is Dr. Fauci said everything that he told the president in the Oval Office, the president told the American people. Now, President Trump,
Man, this man looks so fake and such a fake liar. Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm trying to listen, but he's not making no sense. They're not owning up to any of their SHIT. They're not owning up to none of that. All they owning, what had happened was, we ain't tell y'all because we was trying to protect y'all. But, yeah, full of BS. I smell, dude.
I will tell you, has boundless confidence in the American people, and he always spoke with confidence that we'd get through this together. But when you say it hasn't worked, when Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and our medical experts came to us in the second week of March, they said if the president didn't take the unprecedented step of shutting down roughly half of the American economy, that we could lose 2.2 million Americans. But that's the reality.
Thank you.
They also
Thank you,
said
Vice
to us if
President
we
Pence.
did everything right, Susan, we could still lose more than 200,000 Americans.
Vice
Notice how he still ain't answered the question. Is he going around? We could tell, but we could not tell, but we should tell, but I'm telling you, it's not making no sense. But maybe that's just me.
Now,
President
one
Pence.
life lost is too
Thank you.
many, Susan. But the American people, I believe, deserve credit for the sacrifices that they have made, putting the health of their family and their neighbors first, our doctors, our nurses, our first
Thank you, Vice
responders.
President Pence.
And I'm going to speak up on behalf of what the American people have done.
Vice President Pence, you were in the front row in a Rose Garden event 11 days ago at what seems to have been a super spreader event for senior administration and congressional officials. No social distancing, few masks, and now a cluster of coronavirus cases among those who were there. How can you expect Americans to follow the administration's safety guidelines to protect themselves from COVID when you at the White House have not been doing so?
Well, the American people have demonstrated over the last 8 months that when given the facts, they're willing to put the health of their families and their neighbors and people they don't even know first.
Why every time I look at this man, he start off with an excuse. I'm just not. I'm baffled, y'all. I'm baffled because I'm confused. I'm just. This maybe it's me.
President Trump and I have great confidence in the American people and their ability to take that information and put it into practice. In the height of the epidemic, when we were losing a heartbreaking number of 2,500 Americans a day, we surged resources to New Jersey and New York and New Orleans and Detroit. We told the American people what needed to be done, and the American people made the sacrifices. When the outbreak in the Sun Belt happened this summer, again, Americans stepped forward. But the reality is the work of the President of the United States goes on. A vacancy on the
I can't take this man talking, was the most dumbest stuff ever.
Supreme Court of the United States has come upon us, and the President introduced Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Thank you, Vice President.
At that, if I may say, that Rose Garden event, there's been a great deal of speculation about it. My wife Karen and I were there and honored to be there. Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested for coronavirus, and it was an outdoor event, which all of our scientists regularly and routinely advise. The difference here is President Trump and I trust the American people to make choices in the best interest of their health. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris consistently talk about mandates, and not just mandates with the coronavirus, but a government takeover of health care,
Thank you,
the Green New Deal, all government control. We're about freedom and respecting the freedom of the American people.
Let's talk about respecting the American people. You respect the American people when you tell them the truth. You respect the American people when you have the courage to be a leader speaking of those things that you may not want people to hear, but they need to hear so they can protect themselves. But this administration stood on information that if you had as a parent, if you had as a worker, knowing you didn't have enough money saved up, and now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people.
You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, she came back with that fire. Like, you still telling me that if I didn't tell you, or you didn't tell me, or nothing of that nature, you're not able to construct a B or whatever. You trying to tell me that? No, that's not happening. We're not doing that.
So let's talk about caring about the American people. The American people have had to sacrifice far too much because of the incompetence of this administration. It is asking too much of the people.
Susan, we talked about
it is asking too much of the people. That they would not be equipped with the information they need to help themselves to protect their parents and their children.
Sorry. Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, I'm sorry.
It's fine, I'm Kamala.
No, you're Senator Harris to me. For life to get back to normal, Dr. Anthony Fauci and other experts say that most of the people who can be vaccinated need to be vaccinated. But half of Americans now say they wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
Did y'all see my girl face when she was like, my girl face was priceless. My girl's face was priceless. She said, I take it. If the doctors advise us to take it, but if Donald Trump co-signs and tell us to take it, I ain't.
Vice President Pence, there have been a lot of repercussions from this pandemic. In recent days, the president's diagnosis of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of the job that you hold and that you are seeking. That's our second topic tonight. It's the role of the vice president. One of you will make history on January 20th. You will be the vice president to the oldest president the United States has ever had. Donald Trump will be 74 years old on Inauguration Day. Joe Biden will be 78 years old. That already has raised concerns among some voters, concerns that have been sharpened by President Trump's hospitalization in recent days. Vice President Pence, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with President Trump about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes without interruption.
Well, Susan, thank you, although I would like to go back.
I think we need to move on to the issue.
Well, thank you, but I would like to go back because the reality is that we're going to have a vaccine, Senator, in record time, in unheard of time, in less than a year. We have 5 companies in phase 3 clinical trials, and we're right now producing tens of millions of doses. So the fact that you continue to undermine public confidence in a vaccine, if the vaccine emerges during the Trump administration, I think is unconscionable. And Senator, I just ask you, stop playing politics with people's lives. The reality is that we will have a vaccine, we believe, before the end of this year.
Y'all can't even get stimulus together. Y'all can't even get the economy back in order. And y'all talking about a vaccine by the end of the year. It's already October. So miss me if I smell BS.
And it will have the capacity to save countless American lives, and your continuous undermining of confidence in a vaccine is just unacceptable. And let me also say, the reality is when you talk about failure in this administration, we actually do know what failure looks like in a pandemic. It was 2009. The swine flu arrived in the United States. Thankfully, it ended up not being as lethal as the coronavirus. But before the end of the year, when Joe Biden was Vice President of the United States, not 7.5 million people contracted the swine flu. 60 million Americans contracted the swine flu. If the swine flu had been as lethal as the coronavirus, in 2009, when Joe Biden was Vice President, we would have lost 2 million American lives. His own Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, would say,
He babbling. I'm not understanding his point. Like, he babbling.
Last year, that it was pure luck that they did, quote, everything possible wrong. And we learned from that. They left the Strategic National Stockpile empty. They left an empty and hollow plan, but we still learned from it. And I think the American people, I'm going to say again, can be proud of what we have done. And Senator, please stop undermining confidence in a vaccine.
Senator Harris, let me ask.
They making it do what it do. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm really trying to tell you, I'm not trying to be an ass, but it's just not a point. Y'all tell me.
Ask you the same question that I asked Vice President Pence, which is, have you had a conversation or reached an agreement with Vice President Biden about safeguards or procedures when it comes to the issue of presidential disability? And if not, and if you win the election next month, do you think you should? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So let me tell you, first of all, the day I got the call from Joe Biden, it was actually a Zoom call. Asking me to serve with him on this ticket was probably one of the most memorable days of my life. I thought about my mother, who came to the United States at the age of 19, gave birth to me at the age of 25 at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland, California. And the thought that I'd be sitting here right now, I know would make her proud. She must be looking down on this. Joe and I were raised in a very similar way. We were raised with values that are about hard work, about the value and the...
Now that statement, we were raised in a similar way, about different things of that nature. Similar values.
The dignity of public service and about the importance of fighting for the dignity of all people. And I think Joe asked me to serve with him because, you know, I have a career that included being elected the first woman district attorney of San Francisco, where I created models of innovation for law enforcement in terms of reform of the criminal justice system. I was elected the first woman of color and black woman to be elected Attorney General of the state of California, where I ran the second largest Department of Justice in the United States, second only to the United States Department.
Now, this woman has a rich background. Y'all tell me what y'all feeling about her background. I'm loving the fact that she had stood up for black rights. You know, ain't everybody we gonna get it perfect. So let me run that back. Ain't everybody we getting is gonna be perfect to this, gonna be new to this, gonna be true to this. Nothing. Nobody's gonna be doing all that. But I will say, she stands. She got more of background to stand in this political office than Pence. Next.
Department of Justice. And there I took on everything from transnational criminal organizations to the big banks that were taking advantage of homeowners to for-profit colleges that were taking advantage of veterans. And then, of course, now I serve in the United States Senate as only the second black woman ever elected to the United States Senate. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee, where I've been in regular receipt of classified information about threats to our nation and hotspots around the world. I've traveled the world. I've met with our soldiers in war zones. And I think Joe has asked me to serve with him because he knows that we share a purpose, which is about lifting up the American people. And after the 4 years that we have seen of Donald Trump unifying our country around our common values and principles.
Thank you, Senator.
If that ain't enough said, I don't know what. If that ain't enough said, I don't know what. I don't know what. I don't know. You know, I can't explain it for you. You know, I can't explain nothing to you. You know, I really can't. That's just self-explanatory to itself by itself.
Senator Harris, you know, neither President Trump nor Vice President Biden has released a sort of detailed health information that had become the modern norm until the 2016 election. And in recent days, President Trump's doctors have given misleading answers or refused to answer basic questions about his health. And my question to each of you in turn is this information voters deserve to know? Vice President Pence, would you like to go first?
Well, Susan, thank you. And let me say, on behalf of the President and the First Lady, how moved we've all been by the outpouring of prayers and concern for the President. And I do believe it's emblematic of the prayers and the concern that have ushered forth for every American impacted by the coronavirus. But the care the President received at Walter Reed Hospital, the White House doctors, was exceptional. And the transparency that they practiced all along the way were...
What transparency?
Will continue. The American people have a right to know about the health and well-being of their president, and we'll continue to do that. But I'm just extremely grateful and was more than a little moved by the broad and bipartisan support. And Senator, I want to thank you and Joe Biden for your expressions of genuine concern. And I also want to congratulate you, as I did on that phone call, on the historic nature of your nomination. I never expected to be on this stage 4 years ago, so I know the feeling. But the reality is we've got an election before the American people in the midst of this challenging year. And the stakes have never been higher, but I think the choice has never been clearer.
I want to give Senator Harris a chance to respond to the same question I asked, which is, do voters have a right to know more detailed health information about presidential candidates and especially about presidents especially when they're facing some kind of challenge.
Absolutely, and that's why Joe Biden has been so incredibly transparent, and certainly by contrast, the president has not, both in terms of health records, but also let's look at taxes. We now know, because of great investigative journalism, that Donald Trump paid $750 in taxes. When I first heard about it, I literally said, "You mean $750,000?" And it was like, no, $750. We now know Donald Trump owes.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that Donald J. Trump, whatever the government name of this man is, because I don't follow, I don't care to, unless it's something important, this man owes taxes. But I'm giving you, can't even budget, but I'm giving you, but our money to budget and to take it, no. I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it at all.
And is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody. And it'd be really good to know who the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, owes money to, because the American people have a right to know what is influencing the president's decisions. And is he making those decisions on the best interest of the American people, of you, or self-interest? So, Susan, I'm glad you asked about transparency, because it has to be across the board. Joe has been incredibly transparent over many, many years. The one thing we all know about Joe, he puts it all out there. He is honest, he is forthright. But Donald Trump, on the other hand, has been about covering up everything.
Thank you, Senator Harris. I want to give you a chance to respond, Vice President.
Well, look, I respect the fact that Joe Biden spent 47 years in public life. I respect your public service as well.
Thank you.
The American people have a president.
Notice how he said that like he really had something to say. Like, I respect. Like, he was just saying that because that's the political answer to say. Like, I'm not feeling that. No.
He was a businessman. He's a job creator who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
and
President.
Turned this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation, unleashing American energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's on the line if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, that's a good segue into our third topic, which is about the economy. This has been another aspect of life for Americans that's been so affected by this coronavirus. We have a jobs crisis brewing. On Friday, we learned that the unemployment rate had declined to 7.9% in September, but the job growth had stalled, and that was before the latest round of layoffs and furloughs in the airline industry at Disney and
Watch, I feel, oh boy, he gone. Like, see, I don't even, Pence, they all full of BS. They all full of BS. I'm just saying, like, maybe it's me.
Elsewhere, hundreds of thousands of discouraged workers have stopped looking for work. Nearly 11 million jobs that existed at the beginning of the year haven't been replaced. Those hardest hit include Latinos, blacks, and women. Senator Harris, the Biden-Harris campaign has proposed new programs to boost the economy, and you would pay for that new spending by raising $4 trillion in taxes on wealthy individuals and corporations. Some economists warn that could curb entrepreneurial ventures that fuel growth and create jobs. Would raising taxes put the recovery at risk? And you have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing, which is why he passed a tax bill benefiting the top 1% and the biggest corporations of America, leading to a $2 trillion deficit that the American people are going to have to pay for. On day one, Joe Biden will repeal that tax bill. He'll get rid of it. And what he'll do with the money is invest it in the American people. And through a plan that is about investing in infrastructure, something that Donald Trump said he would do. I remember hearing about something happen. But Joe Biden will do that. He'll invest in infrastructure. It's about upgrading our roads and bridges, but also investing in clean energy and renewable energy. Joe is going to invest that money in what we need to do around innovation. There was a time when our country believed in science and invested in research and development so that we were an innovation leader on the globe. Joe Biden will use that money to invest in education. So, for example, for folks who want to go to a 2-year community college, it will be free. If you come from a family that makes less than $125,000, you'll go to a public university for free. And across the board, we'll make sure that if you have student loan debt, it's cut by $10,000. That's how Joe Biden thinks about the economy, which is about investing in the people of our country, as opposed to passing a tax bill, which had the benefit of letting American corporations go offshore to do their business.
Thank you,
You're
Senator
welcome.
Harris. Vice President Pence, your administration has been predicting a rapid and robust recovery, but the latest economic report suggests that's not happening. Should Americans be braced for an economic comeback that is going to take not months, but a year?
So they all that soak in? Did all that soak in? Did all of that, soak in, per se? Because like I said, Pence is not really feeling it.
Year or more? You have 2 minutes to answer uninterrupted.
When President Trump and I took office, America had gone through the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. It's when Joe Biden was vice president, they tried to tax and spend and regulate and bail our way back to a growing economy. President Trump cut taxes across the board. Despite what Senator Harris says, the average American family of four had $2,000 in savings in taxes. And with the rise in wages that occurred, most predominantly for blue-collar, hard-working Americans, the average household income for a family of four increased by $4,000 following President Trump's tax cuts. But America, you just heard Senator Harris tell you, on day one, Joe Biden's going to raise your taxes. It's really remarkable to think, Susan. I mean, right after.
Why you gonna say they said? Like his doodle don't stink. Like, y'all ain't doing nothing to solve the situation. So what's your point of telling me, oh, they gonna raise taxes or whatever? Like, really, they gonna raise taxes. You ain't got nothing else to say about that point, but they gonna raise taxes. Okay.
A time where we're going through a pandemic that lost 22 million jobs at the height. We've already added back 11.6 million jobs because we had a president who cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, fought for free and fair trade, and secured $4 trillion from the Congress of the United States to give direct payments to families, save 50 million jobs through the Paycheck Protection Program. We literally have spared no expense to help the American people and the American worker through this. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris want to raise taxes. They want to bury our economy under a $2 trillion Green New Deal, which you were one of the original co-sponsors of in the United States Senate. They want to abolish fossil fuels and ban fracking, which would cost hundreds of thousands of American jobs all across the heartland. And Joe Biden wants to go back to the economic surrender to China, that when we took office, half of our international trade deficit was with China alone. And Joe Biden wants to repeal all of the tariffs.
Okay, like, your point is, please miss me with the BS.
President Trump put into effect a fight for American jobs and American workers. Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot with 4 more years of growth and opportunity, 4 more years of President Donald Trump. 2021 is going to be the biggest economic year in the history of this country.
Thank you, Vice President Pence.
Pause. I'm going to have to tell Paul for a minute. If we re-elect Trump, people, do you understand how deep in trouble that we are, that we're going to be, that we're in, that we're already buried out? Like, what's gonna take, like, for them to do full-blown, racism and all that? It's a touchy subject, but it is the truth. It is what it is. And I feel like we need to stop hiding behind things and just basically speak the truth. And the truth is, there is not nothing you can say to convince me that, to re-elect Trump. I'm sorry.
Senator Harris.
Well, I mean, I thought we saw enough of it in last week's debate, but I think this is supposed to be a debate based on fact and truth. And the truth and the fact is, Joe Biden has been very clear. He will not raise taxes on anybody who makes less than $400,000 a year.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well,
I'm speaking.
It'd be important if you said the truth. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. That was tax cuts that gave the average working family $2,000 in a tax break every single year.
Senator, that is absolutely not true.
Is he only going to repeal part of the Trump tax cuts?
If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
She just checked him. She put him in his place. Like, look, let me finish what I have to say. Before you get to yipping and yapping, y'all BS point, that's not a point. She got him.
Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden will not end fracking. He has been very clear about that. Joe Biden is the one who, during the Great Recession, was responsible for the Recovery Act that brought America back, and now the Trump-Pence administration wants to take credit when they rode the coattails of Joe Biden's success for the economy that they had at the beginning of their term. Of course, now the economy is a complete disaster. But Joe Biden, on the one hand, did that. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who has reigned over a recession that is being compared to the Great Depression. On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who was responsible with President Barack Obama for the Affordable Care Act, which brought health care to over 20 million Americans and protected people with pre-existing conditions. And
they would. Now let's talk about this pre-existing condition and how we are going to affect the leads stay, together. Just think about that. Just think about that.
And what it also did is it saved those families who otherwise were going bankrupt because of hospital bills they could not afford. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who's in court right now, trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which means that you will lose protections if you have pre-existing conditions. And this is very important, Susan.
Yes,
and it's important.
We need to give Vice President.
He interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish, please. If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you. If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition, they're coming for you. If you are under the age of 26 on your parents' coverage, they're coming for you.
Senator Harris, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me give you a chance to respond.
Well, I hope we have a chance to talk about health care, because Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well. And President Trump and I have a plan to improve health care and to protect pre-existing conditions for every American.
That's what he say, man. That's what he say, but I'm not feeling none. I'm just like, I'm not really feeling this. Like, so far this debate is alright. That's all I gotta say.
But look, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. You yourself said on multiple occasions when you were running for president that you would ban fracking. Joe Biden looked at a supporter in the eye and pointed and said, I guarantee that we will abolish fossil fuels. They have a $2 trillion version of the Green New Deal, Susan, that your newspaper, USA Today, said really wasn't that very different from the original Green New Deal. More taxes, more regulation, banning fracking, abolishing fossil fuel, crushing American energy, and economic surrender to China is a prescription for economic decline. President Trump and I will keep America growing. The V-shaped recovery that's underway right now will continue with 4 more years of President.
I smell BS. Maybe it's me, but I smell it.
Because with that time,
Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year. In California, and the question was, the science is telling us this. You know what Donald Trump said? Science doesn't know. So let's talk about who is prepared to lead our country over the course of the next 4 years on what is an existential threat to us as human beings. Joe is about saying we're going to invest that in renewable energy. It's going to be about the creation of millions of jobs. We will achieve net zero emissions by 2050, carbon neutral by 2035. Joe has a plan. This has been a lot of talk from the Trump administration, and really it has been to go backward instead of forward. We will also re-enter the climate agreement with pride.
Senator Harris just said that climate change is an existential threat. Vice President Pence, do you believe that climate change poses an existential threat?
As I said, Susan, the climate is changing. We'll follow the science. But once again, Senator Harris is denying the fact that they're going to raise taxes on every American. Joe Biden said twice in the debate last week that on day one he was going to repeal the Trump tax cuts. Those tax cuts delivered $2,000 in tax relief to the average family of 4 across America. And with regard to banning fracking, I just recommend that people...
I don't know, man. I'm not really... This is more like, this is not changing my mind. This ain't making me think, oh, okay, I'm gonna vote for Trump. Like, I came into it this morning with the open mind this afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no. But I'm really not feeling I'm just not really feeling this election at all.
Look at the record. You yourself said repeatedly that you would ban fracking. You were the first Senate co-sponsor of the Green New Deal. And while Joe Biden denied the Green New Deal, Susan, thank you for pointing out, the Green New Deal is on their campaign website. And as USA Today said, it's essentially the same plan as you co-sponsored with AOC when she submitted it in the Senate. And you just heard the senator say that she's going to resubmit America to the Paris Climate Accord. Look, the American people have always cherished our environment. We'll continue to cherish it. We've made great progress reducing CO2 emissions through American innovation and the development of natural gas through fracking. We don't need a massive $2 trillion Green New Deal that would impose all new mandates on American businesses and American families.
Thank you.
Joe Biden wants us to retrofit 4 million American business buildings. It makes no sense. It will cost jobs. President Trump is going to put America first. He's going to put jobs first, and we're going to take care of our environment and follow the science.
Thank you, Vice President. On the issue of jobs,
Senator Harris,
let's talk about that. The vice president earlier referred to, as part of what he thinks is an accomplishment, the president's trade war with China. You lost that trade war. You lost it. What ended up happening is, because of a so-called trade war with China, America lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it. And when we look at where this administration has been, there are estimates that by the end of the term of this administration, they will have lost more jobs than almost any other presidential administration. And the American people know what I'm talking about. You know, I think about 20-year-olds. You know, we have a 20-year-old, a 20-something-year-old, who are coming out of high school and college right now, and you're wondering, is there going to be a job there for me? We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Vice President.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is interesting. But I'm gonna end that here, and you know we're gonna go on to something else. I got a couple announcements to make, so let me get to that screen. Yes. I got a lot of stuff to do. Get to that screen. What's up, you guys? Now, I have such good news. We have my online store. This is my online store that I want to introduce you guys to. Who's watching this live? Down here, you click here. Boom, that's my website. And this is my store. For all of you, this is my store. Bam, there you go. You see I have pillows, bracelets, masks, and I've also got free shipping for orders over $100. This is the current sale. The other things I have, you know, masks, shoes, different items of that nature. Yes, you see all this wonderful, you know, stuff. This is a flip cell phone. This is a cell phone case. You know, different things of that nature. Got shoes. Yeah. So, with that being said, now, we also gonna get you on, let's see, y'all together with y'all life coaches in this business. You know, as you can see, this is I Am My Sister's Keeper store. This is the site for you to book your appointments for your life coaching services. The number is 216-232 2580-216-232-2580. I have face-to-face. I have there is a $1 cancellation fee. So I'm giving people a warning ahead of time. There's a $1 cancellation fee. But if you want to get yourself together, you want to just be, that wonderful woman, please come see me. I am here for you. I also have group member services, and they're based on you. So, what else we have? This is my Weebly site. Y'all know, I be doing what I need to do. You know what I need to do. But, yeah. Yeah. Whew, y'all, it's hot. Yeah. So what y'all doing? What is y'all up to? This is the last thing. There you go. Now, this is my other site. That's linked down. Will be linked down below. But here's my card, my services. I'm going to be adding new things. This is going to be opened and changed. But yeah, this is what it's looking like. So, with that being said, I'm about to get off of here. I want to thank everybody, by, coming to my channel, just coming to my channel. And, yes. Square. So your girl got everything you need. I'm going to take this moment and I'm going to thank you for joining me on this first long live stream. I know we had technical difficulties in the beginning of the video. So about 5 minutes in, fast forwarded, whatever. We gonna be out, there go the store. So please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please like, subscribe. I'm tired. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for joining me. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, thumbs up the video. Thank you for watching this long live stream. I appreciate each and one of y'all. Put that thumbs up button because it's more to come. More to come. y'all next time on Monica Love TV.